I'm Dr. Narissa Bauer with Let's Talk Kids Health. I am so glad that you decided to join me for today's quick chat. I know that it's been a terrible past year and a half with the pandemic and the uncertainty, and now with school starting, you might feel a whole host of different emotions, from anxiety, worry, sadness, and disappointment that the summer is ending. Kids too will probably feel this way, and yet some kids can't necessarily tell us how they feel, either because they're a preschooler and don't have the words, or they do have some anxiety and don't like to talk about it. So I wanted to share a personal story with you from a time when my daughter was a preschooler. And, as a parent, I have read a ton of parenting books. This is what I do. So, I often feel like I know kind of in general what I should be doing, but in the moment, as a parent, it can still be overwhelming and frustrating. So we were in one of those days where my daughter was having, a couple mood swings and some tantrums. And, she's a spirited child. And what that means is that when she had a tantrum, she would often get sweaty. It would last for a long time. She just, wears her emotions on her sleeve. And, it was one of those days where it felt like she was just having a couple here and there. And I was able to manage, right? But by the fifth time, and it was later in the evening, I had just come home after not being around. I had ran some errands. She just started with a tantrum again. And I thought, what's happening? Like, do I do what I just did before? Or why is she having so many today? And, as a parent, it can be really frustrating, especially when you're tired or you're just not sure what caused it, right? And for me, it was like I walked in the door and within a couple minutes of me coming home, she was tantruming. So what helped me in that moment was really to sort of take a step back and to pause and think, okay, what's happening? Did she eat? Is she hangry? Is she tired? What else just happened right before I walked in the door? And, I was running through that mental checklist in my mind. But then I thought, she's an artist, and I happen to have paper here and colored pencils, a pen in my bag because, that was often a trick that I still do to this day because there's something about paper and writing things down. I like to use it for to-do lists and reminders and whatnot. So I just thought, okay, I'm just going to pull this out. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to help, but I pulled out that pad of paper and gave her a pen. And she sort of looked at me and I said, after I gave it to her, I said, you're mad, show me how it feels, right? And I said this pretty loud, to match her crying. And she looked at me very startled and she was like, okay. She didn't say that, but she just started scribbling. And then as she was scribbling, I remember saying, wow, you're mad. You have so many circles there. It's really, really a lot, and just saying it's like a tornado. And as I described what she was doing, I was kind of looking over her shoulder and she was scribbling furiously. And then she would kind of pause and look at me. And then she tore the page off, threw it to the ground because she ran out of room, and then she started again. And as she did that, I would just comment, wow, you're still mad. I can see it. Those circles are big. It's heavy. You're pushing down hard. And then, I remember she did it again. She had a third paper of scribbles, but, she was sort of just grunting at that time, and her hand was slowing down as I was sort of commenting along, right? And then all of a sudden, to my surprise, the fourth piece of paper, there were stick figures coming on it, not just scribbles anymore. And I, start saying, I kind of pause and look at it, and I said, I'm going to take a guess here, but I think that's your brother and me, and we're sitting together. And she looks at me, and then she starts writing letters, M-A-D, mad. So I said, oh, you're mad that your brother is sitting on my lap and you didn't get to sit on my lap first. And then she tears off the paper. She doesn't look at me yet. And then she starts drawing another picture. This time, though, it has a person crying. And again, she writes S-A-D this time. And I said, oh, that makes you sad. You're sad that you didn't get to sit on my lap. And then she tears it off, and then she drew me another picture, and this time it was me and her, and it writes, love. Happy, Mom Emma. And in that moment, I thought, wow, like I was able to help her sort of navigate those waves of strong emotions when I was just trying to help figure out what the heck was going on. And through the medium of giving her permission, and as an artist, letting her have that paper and that pen to be able to self-express. But it was much more just allowing her to experience those emotions there with me so I could see her, but also be describing what I think those drawings represented. That really made the difference. You know, sometimes when kids act out, sometimes your knee-jerk reaction is to yell, to get frustrated, to send them to their room, to send them away. And at that moment, it was very critical for her to be able to express those strong emotions, stay close, and then together navigate through those waves of emotion to really get at what was underlying that. So my tip for you today is, as parents, as we're facing this back to school, and you may be feeling a lot of anxiety, your child may be feeling a lot of worry, frustration, and instead of telling you, they may be acting out. Remember, one is to remember to be kind to yourself, to take a step back, to pause, and to think, this behavior is a signal for something else that's lying underneath that surface. My job is to help my child decode what that is together. 2, think of alternative ways. You can always start the conversation by inviting conversation with gentle probes. It seems to me that you're feeling frustrated. Do you want to talk about it, right? Some kids are going to then take that and say yes, and then talk, starts. However, for some kids, they don't want to, or they can't. They feel like they can't. So rather than getting upset or giving them a timeout, you might want to consider using alternate ways to explore getting those feelings out. In my case, because my daughter, again, I told you, is an artist, we had that pad of paper. Thank goodness we had that pad of paper and pen close by. But you can use paint, you can use Legos to build out scenes, you can use stuffed animals, whatever it is to give them permission to give you a different way to communicate. Because again, let's face it, sometimes if you get so upset, sometimes we do shut down. We do want to just kind of be, and that's okay. But allowing your child that permission and letting them know that you are interested in helping them by pushing that piece of paper and that pen closer to them, inviting them with the language of, show me how it feels inside, show me what that tornado in your stomach or head feels like, and seeing what happens can help you roll with it and can really be a different strategy to get you out of that crisis moment so that you can come out together on the other side. I hope you found that helpful. Now, if you have a story to share, please feel free to use #RollWithIt and #Let'sTalkKidsHealth. Post it on social media so that I can find it. And I'd love to hear from you what you thought about my story, as well as sharing your story in the months ahead as we navigate this together.